to have a sweet, happy, and healthy 5780. Whether you are members here or guests, we are so pleased you are able to join us today to celebrate Erev Rosh HaShanah and in the near future, Yom Kippur, a double mitzvah. I want to publicly acknowledge my appreciation to the board and all committee members to let you know how important your involvement and dedication is to this wonderful temple. Today, I especially thank Morais and Joe Graziano, who coordinated all the holiday logistics, which is a massive undertaking. I again want to thank my family and especially my wife and greatest blessing, Sindra, for the time they allowed me to do this job. I want to say a few words of welcome to our latest addition, Rabbi Morais. Thank you for accepting the honor of being our new rabbi and spiritual leader. We welcome your sense of humor, your positive and uplifting attitude, and your belief in the worth of all of our congregants. I am certain we will have a long relationship moving forward. Gemar Chatima Tova. On Rosh Hashanah, our fate is written, and on Yom Kippur, our fate is sealed. We go into this new year in a self-assured manner, motivated to get things completed. We check off entries on a list and beam with satisfaction. We take pride in naming the items we possess and in our accomplishments. Yet there is a difference between living life driven to achieve and a life that leaves its mark on the world. Our daily lives feel jam-packed and overwhelming at times. We have no extra minutes to fit in one more activity. But I ask you, when you go to sleep at night, do you feel your day was busy, but you were not sure what you achieved? The behaviors that build health, nurture the spirit, and warm our hearts are the actions that foster relationships with friends, family, and community. I encourage you to ask yourself, what do I believe? What role does faith play in my life? Why was I placed on this earth? What is the purpose in my life? And where does Temple Anshe Hesed fit in my life? Get motivated to take action. The word motivation means the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. Seek the help of people surrounding you, your friends, your families, your coworkers. If these people are positive, encouraging, your battle is halfway won. And if they're negative, don't keep them around or try to change them into a more positive person. Cynicism drains us. Learn to turn the situation around and feel empowered. Focus on the factors you can work on and refrain from worrying about details you cannot control or the future we can't foresee. From a PBS special on American Jews, I heard this thought-provoking line: our ancestors came to temple to practice their Judaism, but we come to temple to prove that we are Jewish. My father, Max Joseph, along with his two brothers and sister and parents, sailed to Ellis Island after leaving Czechoslovakia when he was a very young boy. He traveled across the Atlantic at an age when we worry when we send our children to school. My father made a life for himself in Cleveland and his family as the owner of Cleveland Veteran Salvage. Although he passed away at a very young age, he instilled in me, as well as my mother, a hard work ethic and my sense of Jewish identity. Each of us has our own chronicles of relatives coming to this country that is unique and interesting. Make sure to tell it to your children. Then envision your great-great-great-grandchildren and how their Judaism will look. Will they go to Hebrew school? Will they pray in a sanctuary? Will they sing Odon Olam or God Bless America? Will they declare themselves Jews? That answer may depend on you. Be the link between Abraham and Sarah and future generations of Jews. As we envision the year ahead with a new year upon us, I ask you to make a difference. The world is not functioning the way it should be. We know that. Our Constitution is at risk. Washington is at odds with each other in the world. The crisis in the Middle East is a crisis for the entire world, and climate change is no longer just an environmental issue. Hunger is a never-ending concern, and parents fear for their children's safety. It's the same old, same old. There are children who cry out for their parents who are taken away from them right near our own border. Jews continue to defend the right of Israel to exist as Israel deals with unrest in the Middle East. Anti-Semitism is on the rise, not only in the world, but right here at home. What do you imagine for yourself and for your children? Of course, a better future. A future that is safe, a future where we can all just get along, a future that is successful and full of love and justice. What kind of future can you imagine for Temple Anshe Hesed? Will we still be here 50 years from now, 100 years from now? My only thoughts on all of this are to take action now, to make your lives and the lives of those you care about mean something. How can we as a small congregation make a difference in these times? Doing tikkun olam and gemilut chasadim. We can speak out when a strong voice is necessary. We can teach our children to be ecologically aware. We can practice kindness in the face of cynicism, and we can act in a morally driven manner as our Judaism teaches us. We can, in the simplest ways, hold our political leaders accountable for their decisions. We can vote. It seems like a huge task, but I firmly believe that both individually and as a group, this small congregation from northwestern Pennsylvania can make a positive impact on the world around us. We were going to try something new this evening. You know, with the digital age and all of that, they actually have come up with a computerized shofar. Now, Rabbi was going to do it tonight, but he ran out of RAM. Shana Tova.
Yeah. No. That was very bad.
Shana Tova, and thank you, Erie.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
And thank all of you for the warm way that you have welcomed me here over the course of the summer. We had an opportunity to get to know a lot of you at our meet and greets, and I want to thank you all for participating, and thank you, Barbara, and your team for putting it all together. Rosh HaShanah, a moment of transition, a time of leaving 1 year behind and beginning something new. And we'll begin as we join together in song, singing Hine Matov, how beautiful, how wonderful it is for us to be together. Page 6. We'll continue now as we welcome Bobby Pollock, and we will light our Yom Tov candles. turn together to page 11.
The first mitzvah in the Torah is, let there be light. So we are commanded, in everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished. And may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu b'chai b'ner shel shematav. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on this festival. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'hiyanu v'hiyanu v'atzman haseh. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us light, upholding the light within us, and bringing us to this
Page 13. This autumn night, the shades of darkness in the sky are signs of earth's turning, the fleeting ways of nature. And we, drawn together in this holy house, filled with New Year's hope and light, turn our hearts towards you in prayer and worship, seeking life's essence. Together,
In the presence of your love, we feel the nearness of those who bless our lives, even in death. Precious memories of their love, restore our strength, renew our faith and our goodness. We acknowledge with gratitude the life you have given us, the bounty that sustains us, your comfort in sickness and sorrow, your compassion in hours of despair. God of years, God of eternity, bless us now and always.
Baruch atah Adonai, shomer kol teruah, amo Yisrael, barachamim. Tekiah. We turn together to page 17. Here I am, so poor in deeds I tremble in fear, overwhelmed and apprehensive before you, to whom Israel sings praise. Although unworthy, I rise to pray and seek favor for your people Israel, for they have entrusted me with this task. Therefore, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, Adonai, Adonai, merciful, gracious God, who inspires awe, I pray to you for success on my path. I pray for myself and my community. Do not hold them responsible for my wrongs and offenses. May my deeds cause them no shame. May their deeds cause me no shame. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5780. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for that gift of life. Page 20. Rise for the bar. Ma'arif Arabim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yitbaro ma'arif Arabim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, u'bitbuna mishaneh itim, u'machalim et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem prakim kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golden or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevit layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tzavot shema, El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Arabim. Page 24. Love beyond all space and time. Your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and when we rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohel Amo Yisrael. We rise together. We accept God's sovereignty in reverence, treating others with love, devoting ourselves to Torah. May this be our will as we witness. page 33. To break bonds of anger, to be generous apart, to break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect, to break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy, to break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts, to break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength, to untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being, to break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope, to break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help. Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea, and we pray for liberation at the dawning of this year. Witness to this heroic might, the people thanked and praised God by name, freely accepting the rain of heaven. Then Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you this song, utter joy. Page 36. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives, be our shield. Make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace now until the end of time. We turn together to page 40.
ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו
You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day. And so in your holiness, give all creation gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witness of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. Page 51. Please be seated.
How do we sense God's holiness through righteousness? And so, in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth.
Kadosh Ata v'Norah Shimcha. You are holy, your name is awe. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch Ata Adonai, Amen HaKadosh. Ata b'chartanu mikol ha'amim. Ahavta otanu v'ratzita banu. You chose us with love to be messengers of mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Together,
Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway of holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us and made yourself our sovereign. And so we seek you and serve you, and celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name is Cantorial.
V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'hava et yom hazikaron hazeh, yom teruah mikra kodesh zecher le'tziat Mitzrayim. In your love, eternal God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our peoples going out from Egypt. Eloheinu v'Elahei avotenu v'imotenu ya'aleh v'yavo. Our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace, on this day of remembrance. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova. Amen. Ufotenu bo livracha.
Amen.
V'hosheinu bo lechaim.
Amen.
Eternal our God, remember us, be mindful of us, and redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. O God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. We turn together to page 59.
Coming home, a portion of Torah is ours.
teaching as the heritage of the congregation of Jacob. Each of us has our own portion of the Torah. It belongs to us. And when we take up the study of Torah, we are committed.
Eternal our God, your people Israel yearns for your favor. Receive their prayer with loving acceptance, and may you always desire your people's worship. Divine One, most of all who call upon you, bring your grace and presence near to those who serve you. Pour forth your Spirit on us, and may our eyes see your merciful return to Zion.
We turn together to page 63.
In the name of the daybreak, in the islands of the morning, in the wayfaring moon, and the night when it departs, I swear I will not destroy my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as the guardian of nature, as the healer of mercy, as the messenger of wonder, as the architect of peace. In the name of the Son, and its mirrors, David embraces it. The cloud veils drawn over it. The uttermost light, the male and the female, the plants bursting with seed, the crowning seasons, the fireflies in the apple. I will honor all life, wherever and in every form it may dwell, on earth and my home, and the mansions of the stars.
Page 64.
And for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised. Of gratitude, a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for life of goodness. And may all life resound with gratitude and faith, in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shemcha u'lechem lehodos. And we turn to page 66 and join together in our prayer for peace. Shalom Rab.
Israel.
prayers of peace and those prayers for that sense of completeness and wholeness that only shalom can bring, we take a moment and reach and look in to our own prayers, the prayers of our own minds, and the prayers of our own hearts. We spend a few moments in silent prayer. We turn together to page 245. And there we find prayer for healing. Healing comes in many ways. Healing of the body, healing of the mind, the heart, perhaps the soul. And if there is someone in your life that you would like to especially direct our prayers this evening, Please, as I look around the sanctuary, say your name.
Samira Awadallah.
Herb Rubenfield.
Ruth Randall.
Sister Kate Calista.
Lisa Chetsky.
We join our voices as one in prayer as we ask God for these blessings of healing.
Oh
to page 74. And we rise for Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, strong with the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say to the works of their hands, "You are our gods." But when we worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt, and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation together.
We call you Elohim, as loving parent, for you are bonds and failings. Accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu, as sovereign of our souls. Help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision we offer ourselves anew. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits in your name. Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us. Avinu Malkeinu, the light of righteousness to the free against us. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and all is mine. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, all the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, all the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for your goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace for our deeds are broken. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Please be seated. Anybody ever been to California? In a few months, we'll be praying for California. Ever seen the redwoods? These huge trees, perhaps some of the tallest in the world, reaching 300 feet high, some of them 2,500 years old. And one would think that such trees would have to have a tremendous root system that reached far down and deep into the ground in order to hold up this tall tree. But they don't. The redwoods, in fact, have a fairly shallow root system that only goes down a few feet. So how does that keep a tree 300 feet tall in the air? Why don't they topple over? The answer is pretty simple. Because has anybody ever seen one single redwood in a forest? No. See, they grow together. And as they grow, their roots intertwine and form a network. They become locked into one another. They create this incredible system. And when the storms come and the winds blow, they stand up tall and straight. Because they depend on each other. Because they don't stand by themselves. You see, they protect and they support one another. We, the Jewish people, are the equivalent of those redwoods. We too have withstood incredible winds, adversities, and yet we continue to thrive and to grow. Our roots too are not planted deep. We are a people used to exile. We wander. Sometimes I like to say that I am the poster child for the wandering Jew. Of my 4 grandparents, one was born in Turkey, one was born in Alexandria, Egypt, one was born in Berlin, and one was born in Italy. My mother was born in Shanghai. Of my 4 kids, one was born in Canada, 3 were born in the United States. Who am I? And like these redwoods, we too need our own system of roots to be interconnected, because we too don't stand alone. Because as Judaism can survive and thrive, it needs a larger system. So look around. Look around tonight. Feels good. Feels great to have our temple family here celebrating our most sacred of days. And I'm thrilled to be here. Thrilled to have the time together tonight and over the coming holidays to pray, to celebrate. And I hope that we can engage in a conversation about where we as a congregation are going. Like those amazing redwoods, we too depend on our interconnected system, our system of support and encouraging each other. Several years ago, I was leading a group of college students on a Birthright Israel trip. We had just arrived in Jerusalem after a long flight. And Abraham Infeld, who was then the international director of Hillel, met the group and was giving one of his signature pep talks and ways of exciting the group and getting them to think about the importance of what they were doing. And he said in this, he's quite a large man, he's 6 feet something, and he's quite big, and he said in this booming South African accent, "Welcome to Jerusalem, the spiritual capital of the entire Jewish people. But I have to tell you something. Judaism is not a religion." Same reaction. So he said it again. Judaism is not a religion. And he went on to explain. What he was really explaining is the dilemma that we've been facing and struggling with probably since the emancipation, which is how can we live committed Jewish lives while fully participating in the modern secular world. He claims that since emancipation, there is no way that we can ever be uniform. We can never have completely uniform beliefs or practices. I actually argue that we never did. Even in the ancient temple in Jerusalem, we had different expressions. We had the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the Essenes and the Zealots. Everybody had a different vision. But it is possible, he said, that we can be far more unified than we are now. And he went on to explain and give us a metaphor for that unity. He said, I want you to think of a table that has 5 legs. The 5 legs are memory, family, covenant, Israel, and Hebrew. These are the 5 critical elements of Jewish identity. Okay? down the line. Kids are always your best critics. Across the Jewish community, we've been asking all of these questions. Questions around things like, how do we ensure the survival of the Jewish people? I'm not sure we never are the ones who are going to be responsible for the survival of the Jewish people. But we've spent many years trying to ensure its continuance. We've created programs. We've made amazing flyers. Anybody get a great flyer? Boy, do we do flyers. We have PR, nothing like it. And after all of these years, we sort of realized that we were wrong. But we were completely wrong. We have to have the content, we have to have the great programs, that's true. But we missed one of the significant points, which is that if we want ourselves to thrive, we have to focus not only about the programs and the ideas and the classes and the opportunities to learn, but also how connected we are to each other. And this model of the five-legged table is important. Now, if you look and think of a table that has 5 legs, it's very sturdy. It can stand up to anything. If you have a table with 4 legs, it's still sturdy. Table with 3 legs, it's okay. You're good. Table with 2 legs, falls over. And if it has one leg, it's not really a table. So he said, look, everybody in the community needs to pick 3 of these things. And because if we all pick 3 out of those 5, we at least have 1 in common with everybody else. Let's take a look at those legs. Memory. A few years ago, I was teaching the adult education class. I was excited. I got the curriculum. It was in a 9-inch binder. I was told that it was a history class. I have a degree in history. Fantastic. I open the binder and I see that the first lesson begins with teaching everybody that Judaism has no history. We don't have history. We have memory. And what's the difference? Well, the difference that was said in the curriculum said that while history is about what happened in the past, memory is about how the past drives our present and our future. Anybody ever go on a European vacation? Anybody see churches? Roman ruins? Ruins of some civilization that no longer exists? They're beautiful. They don't teach us much about who we are. I went to Israel for the first time when I was a teenager. And in 5 weeks, we were introduced and schlepped up and down the country. From Eilat in the south to the Golan Heights in the north, Tel Aviv and the modern excitement of Tel Aviv, the ancient city of Jerusalem. Our guide took us to just before the Kotel, just before the Western Wall, brought us to the very southwest corner of the Temple Mount. Pointed up at the corner and said, look, see that corner? Imagine you're standing here on these very stones, which date from 2,500 years ago. And your great spiritual grandparents stood right where you are now. And they too looked up at that corner, and the priest came out of the temple and blew the shofar and announced, the new year. Made sense. I wasn't learning about something else. I wasn't learning about some other civilization. It was about me. At that moment, I knew it was my site. And I understood that I am part of this narrative. We are all part of that Jewish narrative. As a congregation, we too have collective memory. And our narrative too plays itself out. Its effects can be seen and felt in every decision that we make. Sometimes we come up with amazing ideas, creative ways and solutions. Sometimes we come up with great ways to solve our problems. Other times, we insist on reinventing the wheel. It's okay. But in order to fully respond to the needs of our community, we've really got to use the insights that these memories have given to us to reform, recreate, and inspire our synagogue, and ensure that it remains a meaningful and relevant part of our lives. We have to use our memories to draw on their strength while having the courage to do things differently than we may have done them in the past. How many people have been to an event and haven't really talked to anybody while they were there? So let's try something. Everybody knows each other here, right? We're all family. So turn to somebody that you don't know as well, maybe behind you, maybe in front of you. Introduce yourself. And tell them one thing that they don't know about you. Feel that energy change? That was great. Family, number 2. Tomorrow morning, we'll once again read the compelling story of Abraham and Isaac's tragic trip up the mountain of Morais. Often the story called the sacrifice of Isaac. And there's been more written about those few lines of Torah than almost any other story in the entire Bible. We have always struggled with the idea of God who actually would ask Abraham to sacrifice his beloved son. Struggled with Abraham, the loving father who would willingly carry out this act of sacrifice. Can you imagine the family dynamics? And while the story of Abraham and Isaac portrays this extreme moment of family conflict, to say the least, their feelings of betrayal and disappointment that Isaac must have felt towards his father were profound. God willing, our families don't experience that level. But often families do have a feeling in families of being let down, of having something happen in our families that causes trauma. We're lucky, though, because we get to engage with each other and resolve. We come to a reconciliation. Abraham and Isaac had no such opportunity. They parted on the top of the mountain, each going down a different side, never to be with each other again. We have family here as a congregation. Anybody argue amongst the congregation? There's never been an argument here, I know. But other congregations sometimes argue. And what's really important is that we engage with each other and we come to resolutions and we allow people the opportunity to speak. We allow people the opportunity to engage in the conversation and feel that their voices are heard. We have shtick. Oh, we have shtick. We're not perfect. And that's why we have Rosh HaShanah and then Yom Kippur that quickly follows. Because each year we get to reinvent ourselves. Which brings us, of course, to the third part, which is covenant, which is a critical aspect of who we are as a Jewish community. Because it is on Rosh Hashanah that we renew our covenant with God. Now, there's lots of things written around what covenant means, but to be at its simplest, covenant is recognizing one God, Shema Yisrael, one God, a commitment to making the world a better place, and using Jewish experiences and Jewish customs and rituals and observances to define and shape our lives and our calendar. But no matter how much we try to control things and the circumstances of our lives, many of them are simply beyond our control. I think it is best expressed by the Yiddish proverb which says, Der Mensch tracht und Gott lacht. People plan, God laughs. God laughs. So whether it's hurricanes, floods, illnesses, anything that might threaten us, or perhaps good fortune that shines down on us, the only thing we can say is Shema Yisrael and enter into that covenant. Enter into a covenant that says, listen, Israel, us, pay attention. God is one and unified. And it is God who is in control of these cycles of birth and of death, and has created the world in its cycle of growth and decay, and has given it to us to till and to tend. Now the nexus is the fourth part, which is the nexus of memory, family, and covenant, which is Israel. Because this is where Bible and Jewish memory come alive. As the only Jewish country in the world, it is our home. And like a family, we connect to our family in Israel. We don't always agree with everything its government does, and we can express our feelings with love. And we hope that our synagogue is a place where different ideas about Israel can be shared. This spring, we hope to be able to travel to Israel together as a congregation. So, unabashed promo. If you're looking for a fabulous way to experience Israel, please come talk to me. We're going in June. The fifth one is Hebrew, the common language. The language of prayer, language of study, sacred language. The language using the words of Moses, Miriam, Abraham, Deborah the prophet, David Ben-Gurion, Golda Meir. It's our common language. We probably don't fully understand, but it allows us to connect with the entire Jewish world. It's how we can go into a synagogue anywhere in the world and join together with that community saying, Shema Yisrael. So which three? Which three? Memory, family, covenant, Israel, Hebrew. Which three will you pick? The synagogue is really the place where those elements get celebrated and practiced fully. Whether it's temple activities, social experiences, prayer, social justice moments, discussions about Israel. Perhaps when we feel lost, we look to the synagogue as our anchor. And it brings us together. It makes us whole. And so this multi-legged table, this five-legged table, becomes a shelter that covers us. Covers and protects us when we need it. And at the same time, we are the ones who are building it and putting it together. Now think about tables in Jewish life. Tables are central, because what do we do at a table? We eat. It's where we sit. It's where we sit as families. It's where we share. We want that table to be strong, so that we can use it, we can lean on it, it can weather the storms. So as we share our holidays together, and you share holiday meals around the table, spend a little bit of time reflecting on these five. Pick your three. And reflect how we can be like those ancient redwoods. How we can grow together. How our roots can intertwine and raise us up, also as individuals. I wish you all a sweet and happy New Year. Shana Tova Shalom. We'll turn together to page 82 as we rise to the Lord.
the loftiest height. You are God, there is none else. We take as true your sovereignty, there is no other, as Torah teaches. Embrace and carry in your heart this day. In heaven above and on earth below, the eternal is God, there is none other. Please be seated. Page 86. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey. From childhood to maturity and youth to age. From innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing. From foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love. From joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage, from birth to death to life everlasting. We are in the period of Shloshim for Robert Gingrich. We observe the following yahrzeits on this Shabbat. Rose Owens Abramson, Eileen Chinsky, Jacob Weinberger, Caroline Schoenfield Lowe, Anna Oppenheimer Schuster, Sarah M. Ostro, Bertha Strauss, Lucille Frank Hanauer, Robert Baker, Theodore Knapp, Abraham Lee Brown, we also remember Peter Silverstein, Jane Kerr, Denise Nicotra, Benjamin Kimball, and the yahrzeits of Isaac J. Garson, Samuel Frank, A.B. Silverstein, Isaac Rosenzweig, Franklin Fox, Max Federer, Rose Schoenberg, Moses Levy, Samuel Golden, and Adolf Platowski. Do others have names that they'd like to add? I would invite all those who are here for names mentioned or in the period of mourning to please rise. We rise together as a community as we turn to the words of Kaddish on page 9. יתקדש
ויתקדש שמך, יאמר דברך יוצא ימית מלכותך, וחיי קום ויום וחיי כל בית ישראל, עד עולם וזמן קריב נבראו אמן. יהי שמך לברך ולעולם אמן. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי קדושה ובריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, ואמירם יעלם ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמם לעולם ישמעיה, וחיים עלינו לכל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו לכל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן.
Amen. Please be seated. You want to make this year's announcement?
Yes. We're on to next year's announcement. Tomorrow, please join us for a congregational service beginning at 10 o'clock. Also, we are having a children's service, also at 10 o'clock, which will be led by Yael and Jay Taylor. And at 1 o'clock p.m., Tashlich will be down at Veterans Park, right down here. Bring your own breadcrumbs or bring your own birdseed. Okay. So, please join us for a wonderful ONEG sponsored by our board of directors after the service this evening. And everyone, please pick up a grocery bag and bring it back and help support the hungry in our own community. Thank you. Good job, Rebecca. Wonderful job, choir, beautiful. Lovely Jessica. Wonderful. And Jay. I got you, Jay. I got you.
So we'll conclude this evening with a donor lamp on page 94. Wait. Sure.
Elohim melech haolam, orei v'ri ha'adam. Please join me in singing. Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, orei v'ri ha'adam. Baruch Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, asher ishanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat v'shalom, ve'ahavu ratzon yimkelanu.
finally turned to page 9.
What about bread?
We were going to do Kiddush after Adon Olam, but okay. Page 94. Let's join together. Page 99. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'lehei avotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu shana tova u'metuka. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year. L'shana tova tikatenu v'techamehu.